The other supplement that's good for people, almost everybody, is a probiotic. And this is a little bit controversial, but I believe that probiotics are good. Now, it has to be a good quality probiotic. In fact, all supplements have to be good quality because there's very little regulation internationally about the quality of supplements. It's really up to the company to ensure, and we use the phrase, what's on the label is in the capsule. So what that means is if they say you're getting 100 milligrams of vitamin C on the label, that when you actually look at the capsule, there's 100 milligrams of vitamin C there. And that, unfortunately, is not the case. So you have to get from a trusted company.
Of course. Yeah.
And the same is very true about probiotics, especially true about probiotics, because probiotics, let's say on the label, they say, 4 billion, the measure they use is something called CFU, or colony forming units. So let's say it's 4 billion CFUs or 20 billion CFUs. You have to know that those bacteria don't die between the manufacturing date and when you buy it in the store, and then when you put it in your body. And so the good companies actually do those tests, and they say, well, this is your expiration date, and they keep it in the warehouse until the expiration date, and then they test it to make sure that the right number of bacteria are there. So it's very important that it be a trusted company. Some of them say that their probiotics have to be refrigerated. Some say they don't. And you have to trust the company when it says it doesn't have to be refrigerated, that it doesn't have to be refrigerated. So probiotics are good. Now, why do I say that? I say that because intestinal health, or what we call gut health, is one of the most important places of the body that needs to be healthy in order to have good overall health. And so we have a saying when we teach functional medicine, always start with the gut. And in the gut, the most abundant thing in the gut, more than the number of cells actually, is the number of bacteria. And there are trillions of bacteria, and we call the bacteria the microbiome. So the gut microbiome is so important for health. I'll go into that in a second, but I will tell you that it's not just the Institute for Functional Medicine or functional medicine practitioners that are saying this. Conventional doctors are also well aware of the importance of the gut microbiome. And there are departments in medical universities all over the world that study the gut microbiome. So this is nothing that is out there or on the edge. This is really cutting edge mainstream medicine right now, is to have an important microbiome. And not only that, but the entrepreneurial investment world is all over this as well. And there are so many new companies coming up constantly about assessing the health of the microbiome and then treating the microbiome. So I mentioned that to tell you the microbiome is important. And what's the best thing that you can do to help your microbiome? Well, yes, taking a probiotic is important, but it's also important, and I would tell you more important, about how you eat and what you eat. So fermented foods are so important for the microbiome, what we call prebiotics.
Yes.
good sources of fiber. All of that is so important, beans, fiber, good fruits. These are foods for the healthy bacteria, which allows them to eat and to live. So, fermented yogurts, kefir, all of these things are so important. Kombucha. So, so you get those good bacteria through your foods. You eat those prebiotic foods, which have what we call allow short chain fatty acid production, which is the food for bacteria. And then what we do is we take a probiotic, and there's no harm with taking, up to 40 billion, CFUs. Depends on your digestion. Some people have a good reaction to them. Some people feel, bloated on probiotics. If that's the case, if you start feeling bloated after you eat, you may have something called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is another very common functional medicine imbalance.